Good morning, children. Today we will be seeing the poem Rain on the Roof, which is written by Coates Kinney. Children, observe these pictures. This is what? All pictures show that it is raining. Okay, can you see the roofs of these kind of houses? When you have these kind of roofs, you can clearly hear the rainfall or raindrops when you are sitting inside such kind of houses. So first about the poet. The name of the poet is Coates Kinney. He was born on November 24th, 1826 and died on January 25th, 1904. He was a lawyer, politician, journalist and poet from the United States. Okay, more about the poet. Coates Kinney was born in 1826 near Pena, New York. He was partly educated at Antioch College, Yellow Springs, Ohio, and studied law with Thomas Corwin. He was admitted to the bar in Cincinnati in 1856. He became a journalist and worked on papers in Cincinnati, Ohio, Xenia, and Springfield, Illinois. From June 1861 until November 1865, he was a paymaster in the United States Army and was mustered out with the commission of Brevet Lieutenant Colonel of Volunteers. He was a delegate to the convention that nominated Ulysses S. Grant for the presidency in 1868 and its Ohio secretary. He was the senator from the 5th District in the Ohio legislature 1882 to 1883 and delivered a speech against the official railroad pass. He wrote poetry and his verses were collected in Keuka and Other Poems and Lyrics of the Ideal and the Real. Of his verses, The Rain on the Roof, which was set to music, was the most popular. He died in Ohio in 1904. And here you can see some of his famous works. Okay, children, now we will start with the poem. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears, what a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. Now here, these were the lines, or this is the first stanza of the poem. Now I'll explain it. When the humid shadows hover. Humid means something which is full of moisture. Shadows, it refers to the dark clouds which is full of water, moisture. Humid shadows hover. Hover means to move around something. Okay, now when the humid shadows hover, humid shadows means clouds which are full of moisture. Hover means moving around over all the starry spheres. Starry spheres means sky. Means all over the sky, what are there? Clouds which are full of moisture. Okay, and you know, when clouds are there, then what happens? You can see that these clouds cast a shadow on the earth. Now this time is very correct for this poem. Why? Because all of you know this is rainy season. Rainy season, you can better understand this poem. Again I am reading these lines, just pay attention. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, that means when the clouds, which are all full of moisture, they cast a shadow on the earth. Over all the starry spheres means sky, they are filled, the sky is filled with the clouds, and they cast a shadow on the earth, means it is dark. And the melancholy darkness, melancholy means sad, melancholy means sad. Now your darkness is compared to a sad thing, and he is saying that this darkness is sad. Gently weeps in rainy tears, gently weeps in rainy tears. Now here weeps means cries. Now rainfall is there, so here it seems to the poet as if they are weeping. Okay, why? Because the darkness was sad and now they are gently weeping in the form of rainy tears. Is it clear? What a bliss to press the pillow. Bliss here refers to happiness. Here the poet says, what is happiness? Happiness is to lie down on a pillow of a cottage chamber bed. Cottage chamber bed means bedroom. Here what the poet is saying, that it is happiness. You feel happy to lie down in your bedroom and listen to the patter. Patter is the sound of raindrop falling on the roof, and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. Here the poet is saying it is happiness. You feel happy to lie down in your bedroom and listen to the sound of the raindrops which is falling on the roof. Again I am reading, just listen carefully. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. What a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. Okay children, now this is the first stanza which was explained to you. Now we will see the literary devices which is used in the first stanza. Okay, first of all we will see the rhyming scheme of the poem. Do you know how do we find out the rhyming scheme? Okay, I will tell you. We will see the last words of each line. Like this is hover. This is a new one, so we will write here A. Okay, over all the starry spheres, we don't say, we see the last one, hover. Then spheres. Spheres doesn't rhyme with hover, so we will put here B. This was A, this is B. And the melancholy darkness. Now here hover, spheres, darkness, they do not rhyme with each other. So this is A, this is B, this is C. Now see here tears. Now this rhymes with spheres, which was B. So now the rhyming scheme will be A, B, C, B. A, B, C, B. Now pillow. Again it doesn't rhyme with any of these, so it will be D. Okay. Bed. E. Patter. F. Overhead. It rhymes with bed. and this was E, so this also becomes E. So rhyming scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. This is how you find out the rhyming scheme of any poem. Is it clear? Okay, now we will move on to the second one. This is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is what? It is a sound, use of sound word to create a dramatic effect. And you can imagine that. Like when we saw this stanza, here the word patter. When we heard this patter, this is a sound word, and then you can imagine that this is the sound made by the raindrops falling on the rooftop. So here onomatopoeia is also used. Next is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of a consonant word in two or more consecutive words. Like see here, humid, hover, humid, hover. So here H sound is repeated. Starry, spears. Here S sound is repeated. Press, pillow. Here what you can hear? P sound, per. Lie, listening. Here L sound is repeated. So here the literary device which is used in the first stanza is alliteration. Next thing which is used, next literary device which is used is personification. What is personification? When we treat any non-living thing as a living being, it is known as personification. Like here, darkness, when it is said melancholy darkness, melancholy means sad. Now darkness cannot be sad. Sad, who can be sad? One who is a living being. But here darkness has been personified when it is said that it is sad. Again, when it is said that it weeps, weeps means cries. Okay, cries, who can cry? A living being. So that is why what literary device is used over here is personification. Next is transferred epithet. Transferred epithet is what? The use of an adjective with a noun when it refers to another noun. See here, melancholy darkness. Darkness is noun, melancholy is adjective. Okay, but then here the poet is not using this sadness for this. Actually, it refers to a sad person. Melancholy, it refers to any sad people. Okay, so here in melancholy darkness, the darkness is not melancholy, but it refers to the sad people. So what is the literary device which is used over here? It is transferred epithet. I hope it is clear. Now if you see my videos, in one of my previous videos I have explained all the poetic devices. So you can see that for better understanding of these things. Now this is the explanation of stanza 1 again, and with this we will finish stanza 1 and then we will start with stanza 2. See, quickly I'll read it. The poet is saying that when the humid shadows hover, here humid shadows refers to dark clouds which are full of water. The poet is saying that when the sky is full of these clouds which are moisture laden, are full of water and about to bring rain, when such clouds hover around in the sky over all the starry spheres. Starry spheres refers to the sky at night time which is full of stars. At that time, huge clouds which are full of moisture move round in the sky, and the sad darkness of the night is wiped off by the raindrops, which seem like tears falling from the sky. The poet is comparing raindrops to tears when he says that the dark sky, which seems to be very sad, it appears as if it is crying, and the raindrops are the tears shed by it. He adds that it is like a blessing to lie on the bed of his room. Cottage chamber means bedroom, and listen to the sound made by raindrops falling on the roof. I hope that stanza 1 is clear to everyone. Okay, children, we'll start with the second stanza. Listen carefully. Every tinkle on the shingles has an echo in the heart, and 1,000 dreamy fancies into busy being start, and 1,000 recollections weave their air threads into woof as I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof. Every tinkle on the shingles. Tinkle means the light ringing sound. On the shingles, shingles are the rectangular wooden tiles which are used on roofs. Okay? Has an echo in the heart. Echo means repeated sound. Here the poet says that as the rain falls and that light ringing sound comes, that repeated sound comes, so in his heart 1,000 dreamy fancies, means as he hears to those sounds he starts dreaming, and many thousand dreams or thoughts comes to his mind, some old, some new, and 1,000 dreamy fancies into busy being start, and 1,000 recollections. Recollections means something which has happened in the past. Weave their air threads into woof. Woof actually means weft, like when we weave a cloth, on the loom. That is called bunna. Now here 1,000 recollections, it starts weaving in his mind as I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof. Here the poet says that when he hears those light ringing sounds, that means when the raindrops falls on the wooden tiles, he hears those beautiful ringing sound. What happens? In his heart, in his mind, thousands of dreamy fancies, means he remembers something, he has some good memories which he remembers of his past, and new thoughts, they start weaving. He lies on his bed thinking, and many dreamy fancies come to his mind. See here the meanings. Tinkle, short light ringing sound. Shingles, rectangular wooden tiles used on roofs. Echo, repeated sounds. Woof, weft, that is the thread woven across the loom. Patter, sound of raindrops falling on the roof. Busy being refers to human beings, and here the poet is referring to himself. Children, we will see the literary devices of this second stanza. The explanation is already done. Now we will just see the literary devices in the second stanza. Very first is alliteration. As you know, the repetition of a consonant sound in 2 or more consecutive words is alliteration. See here, busy being. So here, b sound is repeated. Their threads, the sound is repeated, and rain, roof, r sound is repeated. So the first literary device used in this stanza by the poet is alliteration. Second is onomatopoeia. Again, the use of sound words to create a dramatic effect and auditory imagery, like tickle, patter, These are all sound words. These are all sound made by the raindrops. So, which literary device is used here? It is onomatopoeia. Personification, as I told you in the previous stanza also, when we treat any non-living thing as a living being, then it is known as personification. Here, recollections is personified when we say that the recollections weave their dreams. Okay. Then transferred epithet, again the use of an adjective with a noun when it refers to another noun. When we see it say dreamy fancies, it does not mean that the fancies are dreamy, but refers to the people who have dreams. Now these were the literary devices in the second stanza. Now we will see the summary of this second stanza. Explanation of the second stanza. Since I have explained the stanza second, I'll just read it out what is written. The poet is expressing his feelings when he hears the raindrops falling on the rooftop of his house. He says that every tinkle on the shingles has an echo in the heart. Whenever he hears rain falling on the roof top, the sound repeats in his heart, and in his dreams he has many different fanciful imaginations. He adds that this sound of the rain falling on the rooftop creates many new different dreams in his mind. He recollects many memories of the past, which comes back into his mind as dreams. So he says that as he listens to the patter of the rain upon the roof, he has many new dreams in his mind, and the memories of the past come back in the form of dreams. I hope all of you have understood this stanza. Now we will see stanza 3. Now in memory comes my mother, as she used in years agone, to regard the darling dreamers, ere she left them till the dawn. Oh, I feel her fond look on me, as I list to this refrain, which is played upon the shingles by the patter of the rain. Now here, the poet introduces his mother. He says that he is dreaming of his mother. As in the previous stanza we had seen that this rain brings memories of the past. So it is the memory of his mother who is no longer alive. Okay. Now he says that she used to love him a lot. Mother used to love him a lot. She used to consider him a darling. Ere to regard the darling dreamers, ere she left them till the dawn. Here the poet says that the mother would let him sleep till daybreak and have sweet dreams. Oh, I feel her fond look on me. Here the poet says that he can still feel that his mother is looking at him as he listens to the song made by the raindrops falling on the rooftop of his room. See, oh, I feel her fond look on me as I list to this refrain. Refrain actually means a repeated part of a song or a poem, but here it means the sound of the rain. Refrain, it means the sound of the rain when rain is falling on the shingles. So by the patter of the rain, this refrain is played upon the shingles. So here what the poet is saying, that the poet still feels that his mother is looking at him as he listens to the song made by the raindrops falling on the rooftop of his room. Now this sound of rain makes him correlate his past with his present. That is why the poet is moved by this sound of raindrop. And whenever he hears these sound, it brings back memories of the past, and he is reminded of his mother. Now here in this slide we will again see the literary devices used in this third and the last stanza. As I know, these things are now clear to you. Alliteration, again the repetition of consonant sounds in two or more consecutive words. Here you see memory, my mother. M sound is repeated. Darling, dreamers. D or D sound is related. So here repeated. So here, which is the literary device which is used by the poet? It is alliteration. Again, onomatopoeia, as I told you, it is the use of sound words. Here you can see patter. Patter is the sound of raindrops. Again, the literary device again used in this stanza is onomatopoeia. Okay, children. The explanation of the third stanza, again I am reading it out. Just see. Here the poet introduces his mother. He says that he is dreaming of his mother. As he told in the previous stanza, that rain brings memory of the past. It is the memory of his mother who is no longer alive. In the past, she used to love him a lot. She used to consider him a darling, and she would let him sleep till daybreak and have sweet dreams. The poet can still feel that his mother is looking at him as he listens to the song made by the raindrops falling on the rooftop of his room. The sound of the rain makes him correlate his past with his present. That is why the poet is moved by the sound of the raindrop on the shingles of his room. Whenever he hears this sound, it brings back memories of the past, and he is reminded of his mother. A quick look at the summary. The poem Rain on the Roof talks about the poet's varied reactions to the sound of raindrops falling on the roof of his house. He says that the raindrops at night are like tears shed by the sad, dark night. He loves to lie in bed and hear rain falling on the roof of his room because it gets back sweet memories of the past. He says that the sound of raindrops helps him fall asleep and gives him sweet dreams. He has memories of his loving mother who would put them to sleep. I hope you have understood this poem, Rain on the Roof. Thank you for watching.